Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're diving into something you specifically wanted to share more about, scams. We've got a whole bunch of articles here all about how scammers are tricking people, from like everyday people all the way up to even, big time music fans.
Yeah, it seems like these days scammers are everywhere. It's kind of scary.
I know, right? So we've got articles from The Guardian, The Daily Mail, KEZI. We've also got Android Authority, CBS Pittsburgh, Malwarebytes, and even CNN. We're going to break it all down, give you the key takeaways, the most important facts. And hey, maybe we'll even have a few laughs along the way. Our goal here is to, well, help you be in the know about all the latest scam trends, but without, totally overloading you with information.
Think of it as your crash course in scam prevention.
Exactly. So let's start big picture, okay? USA Today had this number, and honestly, it's kind of hard to even wrap your head around it. Ready for this? $1 trillion. Yeah, 1 trillion. That's how much money scam victims all over the world have lost in just the past 12 months. Last year, it was like 159 billion. So it's like this, I don't know, global scamdemic.
Yeah, that's a staggering number. It really shows you like how widespread these scams are. And what's really crazy, the Global Anti-Scam Alliance, they found that the average person in the U.S. who gets scammed, they lose like $3,520.
That's a lot of money. But, there's a little bit of good news here. That same USA Today article, it said more people are becoming aware of scams. Something like 67% of people they surveyed said they know what a scam looks like.
That's good. That's encouraging.
Yeah, awareness is key, you're right.
Absolutely. The more people understand how these scammers work, the better we can all protect ourselves.
Okay, so let's get into some specific examples. We'll start with something that's happening a lot to students.
Yeah.
The Eugene, Oregon police, they're warning college students about all these scams. One student, it's kind of sad, they lost, get this, $4,000, all because some scammer pretended to be from their credit union, like from the fraud department.
Oh yeah, that's an old trick impersonating someone you trust. But here's the kicker. You ready for this? The scammer convinced the student to buy gift cards to prove they were innocent.
Gift cards. To prove they're innocent, I don't get it.
Yeah, it sounds crazy.
And it's not just happening once or twice. There's an article in Android Authority about this court case. This woman lost $1,000 in a Google Play gift card scam. They promised her a government grant, but she had to pay these processing fees with, you guessed it, gift cards.
It's happening all the time. Gift cards are like gold to scammers. They're basically untraceable. It's not like a credit card, Once you give those gift card codes away, poof, that money's gone.
Like it just vanished into thin air.
Exactly.
And to make things even worse, the article said the judge ruled that Google doesn't have to refund victims of these gift card scams, even though Google, well, they make money when people buy those gift cards, right?
Yeah, it's a tough situation. It really makes you think about, like, what responsibility these big tech companies have. Are they doing enough to protect their users? I don't know. It's a tricky question.
Yeah, something to think about. Okay, let's move away from the online world for a minute. Let's talk about something a little more, I don't know, old school check washing. You remember writing checks, right?
Oh yeah, way back when.
Turns out scammers remember them too. They're using this old method, but with a new twist.
Yeah, check washing is making a big comeback. Big time. This article from CBS Pittsburgh, it said there's been a, wait for it, 365% increase in check fraud since the pandemic started. What's crazy is how simple it is. These scammers, they use like everyday household chemicals to erase the ink on stolen checks. Then they just change who it's payable to, change the amount, and bam, they cash it in.
It's amazing what you can do with a little rubbing alcohol, right?
Yeah, low-tech approach, but the damage can be huge.
But the good news is, the article gave some tips on how to protect yourself. They said, use those special pens with non-erasable ink. Try to deposit your checks, close to when the bank closes, and whenever you can, just pay your bills online.
Yeah, those are simple things that can make a big difference. It's all about being aware and taking those extra steps.
Okay, now let's talk about scams that start online but end up affecting you in the real world, stuff that can actually get physical. The Daily Mail, they had this article about this crazy increase in something called cash for crash scams. They're seeing like 4 times as many as they used to. Basically, you've got these scammers on mopeds. They intentionally crash into cars and then try to file fake insurance claims.
Scary stuff. And it seems like they're targeting, people who might be more vulnerable, like
Yeah.
mothers, women, people who they think are less likely to put up a fight.
It's awful taking advantage of people like that.
It is. They're exploiting systems that are meant to help people, like insurance.
Makes you wonder who you can trust these days. And it's not just on the roads either. Remember that big Oasis reunion tour? CNN did this whole article about how tons of fans got scammed buying fake tickets online, mostly through Facebook. Hundreds of people lost money, some of them over £1,000.
Social media is a scammer's paradise.
Yeah.
It's so easy to hide behind fake profiles and disappear. And with something like a big concert, people are desperate to get tickets, they let their guard down and get caught up in the excitement.
You get so excited you forget to think straight.
Exactly.
And speaking of online scams, we found this article in Malwarebytes about this huge malvertising campaign targeting eBay users. Have you ever heard of malvertising?
Malvertising? Not really.
So it's like this. Scammers create these fake ads on Google, but they make them look like legitimate links, like to eBay's customer service page.
Oh, so they're basically using advertising to trick people into giving them their information.
Exactly. It's a phishing scam disguised as a helpful link. And get this, they're even using eBay's actual domain names to make the ads look even more believable.
Those scammers are getting pretty clever.
Sneaky, right. So we've covered gift cards, checks, mopeds, and even fake Google ads. That's quite a tour of the scam landscape.
And we're just getting started.
Oh yeah, there's one more trend we need to talk about, and this one's a little bit unsettling. You know that scamdemic we talked about? Well, it's about to get a whole lot worse thanks to AI.
Oh, this is where things get really interesting.
Right. That USA Today article, it talked about how scammers are now using AI to make these super realistic deepfakes, like fake voices and videos that look and sound like the real thing.
Imagine this. You
Yeah.
get a call, and it sounds exactly like your grandchild begging for help. Or maybe you get a video message from your bank's CEO asking for your account details. How would you even know it's a scam?
It's scary, like something out of a movie, but it's actually happening.
Right. And as AI gets more advanced, it's only going to get harder to tell what's real and what's fake. It's a whole new world of scams.
So what can we do? Are we just doomed?
Well, that's what we're going to talk about in the next part of our deep dive. We'll look at potential solutions and ways to protect ourselves in this brave new world of AI scams.
Welcome back to our deep dive on scams. Last time, remember we were talking about, how scams are on the rise, like everywhere, and all those different ways scammers try to trick people. Oh, and we even started talking about AI and how it's changing the whole scam game.
Yeah, it's kind of wild, all the stuff scammers are doing these days.
Okay, so before we get too far into the whole AI thing, I want to go back to the basics for a second. Why do people fall for these scams? Like, what makes us vulnerable?
That's a great question. I mean, at the end of the day, these scammers, they're like master manipulators. They know how to push our buttons. They play on our emotions, our weaknesses, and even the way our brains are wired.
Okay, break that down for me. Like, what kind of emotions are we talking about here?
Well, think about those classic scams. They often use fear, right? Or greed, hope. Sometimes even like love and compassion. Remember that college student we talked about? The one who lost all that money because they thought they'd get arrested?
Yeah, the gift card scam.
That was pure fear,
Yeah.
right? The scammer made them feel like they had to act fast or something terrible would happen. So they didn't think straight.
It's like they hijack your common sense.
Exactly. And then there are those Oasis fans who bought the fake tickets. That's a case of excitement and, anticipation getting the best of them. They were so pumped about the concert, they overlooked all the red flags.
They just wanted those tickets so bad.
Right. So strong emotions can definitely cloud our judgment, make us more vulnerable. You also mentioned something about the way our brains are wired.
Yeah, you said something about cognitive biases, whatever those are.
Oh yeah, cognitive biases.
Yeah.
Basically, they're like mental shortcuts our brains use to, process information quickly. Usually they're helpful, but they can also make us susceptible to scams.
Okay, I'm still not getting it. Can you give me, like, an example?
Sure. Let's talk about confirmation bias.
Mhm.
That's our tendency to, favor information that supports what we already believe, even if that information is totally wrong. So, say someone already believes they're going to win the lottery. Well, they might be more likely to fall for a scam that plays into that belief.
Oh, I get it. It's like seeing what you want to see, even if it's not real.
Exactly. And then there's something called authority bias. That's our tendency to trust people in positions of authority, like police officers or bank officials. And of course, scammers know this, so they pretend to be those people.
It's like we're programmed to be trusting, and they take advantage of that. It's kind of depressing, isn't it? Feels like anyone could fall for a scam.
Well, it's true that anyone can be vulnerable, but understand that the psychology behind these scams, it's like knowing the enemy. Once you see how they operate, you can start to anticipate their moves and protect yourself.
Okay, that makes me feel a little better. So besides being aware of these biases, and our emotions, what else can we do to stay safe?
Well, first and foremost, be skeptical, like really skeptical. If something sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Don't be afraid to ask questions, check things out. If something feels wrong, just say no.
Trust your gut.
Exactly. Don't ignore those red flags.
Okay, but what about those situations where, like, you get a random call or email from someone claiming to be your bank?
Yeah, that's a tricky one. My advice, never ever give out personal information over the phone or email unless you're 100% sure who you're talking to. A legitimate company, they're never going to pressure you to make a quick decision. And they'll never demand payment in gift cards or cryptocurrency. If you're ever unsure, just hang up the phone or close that email, then go directly to the company's website or call their official number.
So basically, slow down, be cautious, and double-check everything.
You got it. Don't let them rush you into anything.
Ah,
Oh, and one more thing. It's important to remember that scammers often target specific groups, people they think are more likely to fall for their tricks.
like two.
Well, unfortunately, older adults are often targeted. They might be more trusting or maybe not as familiar with all the latest technology. And people who are struggling financially or going through a tough time, they're also vulnerable. Scammers know how to exploit that desperation. They promise quick money or easy solutions, and people in a tough spot, well, they're more likely to believe them.
It's so sad that people take advantage of others like that. What can we do to protect our loved ones, like our parents or grandparents?
I think the most important thing is to talk to them about scams. Share information, tell them about common tactics,
Right.
encourage them to be skeptical and to question everything. Help them set up strong passwords, turn on those extra security features, and keep an eye on their bank statements for anything suspicious.
So basically, we need to look out for each other.
Absolutely. We need to create this culture of awareness, where we share information and support each other. That's how we stay ahead of these scammers.
Okay, so we've talked about protecting ourselves, but what happens if someone does fall victim to a scam? What should they do?
First of all, it's important to remember that you're not alone. It can happen to anyone, and there's no shame in being scammed. The most important thing is to act fast.
What do you mean by act fast? Like, what should they do first?
Report it. Report it to the police, your bank, and any other relevant organization, like your credit card company or the social media platform where it happened.
Okay, good advice. But honestly, reporting a scam, it can feel pretty overwhelming, especially after you've already been through so much. Are there any resources out there to help victims, navigate this whole process?
Absolutely. There are tons of organizations dedicated to helping scam victims. They offer guidance, emotional support, and resources to help people recover.
Can you give me some examples?
Sure. In the U.S., there's the Identity Theft Resource Center. They're fantastic. They offer free, confidential help to victims of identity theft and scams. They can help you understand your rights, report the crime, and figure out what to do next. And there are similar organizations in other countries, too, like Action Fraud in the UK, Scam Watch in Australia. A quick Google search should point you in the right direction.
It's good to know there's help out there.
Definitely. You're not alone in this. There are people who want to help.
Okay, so we've talked about the psychology of scams, tips to protect ourselves, and even resources for victims. Is there anything else we should keep in mind as we navigate this world of, ever-changing scams?
One thing I always emphasize is staying informed. Like, scammers are constantly coming up with new tricks, so we need to stay vigilant and learn about their latest tactics.
Good point. Where can we find reliable information about the latest scams?
There are some great resources out there, like the Federal Trade Commission in the U.S., Action Fraud in the U.K., Scam Watch in Australia. They all provide regular updates on the latest scams, and they offer good advice and resources.
So it's like staying one step ahead of the game.
Exactly. The more you know, the better you can protect yourself and your loved ones.
Okay, so in this part of our deep dive, we really got into the human side of scams, We talked about why people fall victim, gave some practical tips for protection, and highlighted resources for victims. But our journey's not over yet.
We still have a lot to cover.
In the final part, we're going to explore the future of scams. We'll talk about the impact of emerging technologies like AI and how they might change our lives. All right, welcome back to the deep dive for the final part. We've talked about all the crazy scams out there, those huge losses people are facing, why people even fall for this stuff, and we even touched on those new laws in Australia, remember? But now, let's shift gears a bit. Let's talk about AI. that tech everyone's buzzing about. How's AI going to change the world of scams?
Well, it's a bit of a two-sided coin, right?
What do you mean?
AI, it could be a powerful weapon against scams, like imagine it as this high-tech detective sniffing out fraud before it even happens. But at the same time, it gives scammers new tools, too. Powerful tools.
So it's like AI could be our protector, but also the bad guy's best friend.
Pretty much. We're already seeing AI being used to create those deep fakes, remember? Those super realistic fake videos and voices.
Yeah, we talked about those.
Like getting a video call from your bank CEO asking for your account info. It's getting harder to tell what's real.
It's like reality itself is becoming, I don't know, less real.
Yeah, it's a valid concern.
Yeah.
And as AI gets smarter and easier to use, these scams will only get worse. We're going to need new ways to verify info, prove who we are.
Yeah.
Because seeing and hearing, it's not enough anymore.
It's like a whole new world, like a wild west of online security. So what can we do? Is there any way to fight back against these AI-powered scams?
Well, one thing that's promising is AI-powered detection systems. Basically, using AI to fight AI. These systems can analyze tons of data, find patterns that might signal a scam.
Like having an AI bodyguard watching our every move online.
Yeah,
Yeah.
kind of like that. But we also need better ways to prove who we are, Go beyond those simple passwords and security questions. Maybe biometrics like fingerprints or face scans.
But even those can be hacked, right?
Yeah, it's a constant back and forth. But beyond the technology, the most important thing is still good old-fashioned education. People need to know about these AI scams, Think critically about what they see online.
Not just believe everything that pops up on their screen.
Right. We need to promote digital literacy, teach people how to be safe online, just like we teach kids about stranger danger in real life.
So online safety 101.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But let's zoom out a bit, look beyond scams. Think about what AI means for society as a whole.
Whoa, big question.
It is. It raises all these questions about trust, privacy, even what's real and what's not.
It's like we're entering a whole new era, but we don't know the rules yet.
Right. And it's important to have these conversations now, before it's too late.
So it's bigger than just scams, right? It's about making sure tech serves us, not the other way around.
Exactly. We need to make sure AI is used for good. It's a tough challenge, but we can do it.
I hope so.
Me too. But it's going to take everyone working together. Governments, companies, researchers, you and me. We all have a part to play.
Wow, powerful stuff. So we've gone from those everyday scams to AI and the future of reality itself.
It's been quite a journey.
And that's what the deep dive is all about, giving you the knowledge you need to navigate this crazy world.
We hope you found this deep dive insightful and thought-provoking.
And hey, most importantly, stay vigilant, be skeptical, question everything you see online.
Because knowledge is power.
You got it. Until next time, stay curious and stay safe out there.